Hey everyone, welcome back. Before we get into anything else, I need to address this footage first because this dropped on Reddit 2 days ago. And it didn't just go viral, it broke records. Within hours of being posted, it became one of the most upvoted cryptid submissions the community has ever seen. And here's what's making people lose their minds over it. No AI, no costume, no CGI, nothing was debunked. It's raw wildlife camera footage from an eagle nest. Nobody put it there to film this. The camera was already running. And something walked through the background. This is the video everyone's been talking about. Let's actually look at it. I normally would have scrolled past this, but something doesn't add up. This footage comes from an automatic wildlife camera near an eagle's nest, recorded on June 26, 2010 at 5:25 p.m. In the background, something walks through, upright, on 2 legs, with a steady stride. Look at the tree next to it. Conifers here average 50 feet tall, and that figure lines up at roughly the bottom third. You do the math. Am I seeing this wrong? Could it be a bear? Bears don't walk this upright or consistent. A person? At this scale and angle, I'm struggling to believe that. I'm not saying Bigfoot is real, but I'm not confident enough to say it isn't. New species get discovered every year. Sometimes the most honest answer is just, I don't know. It walked through, the forest closed back up, and the camera kept recording. What do you see? Drop it in the comments. Does the size bother you more, or the way it moves?
Anybody who enters the house never comes out. 1 second the player is walking down an ordinary suburban hallway, the next the floor cracks open. Walls stretch, twist, and swallow the light like a mouth clamping shut. This was myhouse.wad. What began as a simple tribute, a digital recreation of a dead friend's home, quickly spiraled into something else. Something alive. Posted under the alias Veg, the creator Steve Nelson uploaded a map to Doomworld on March 3, 2023, but hidden in the files was a journal, and in it, the truth. This wasn't just a map, it was an obsession that consumed Steve's life. After receiving a floppy disk from a childhood friend who had recently passed away, Steve found an incomplete Doom map of the friend's house. It seemed like a heartfelt project to finish what his friend had started. But the deeper Steve went into the map, the more it began fighting back. The new content appeared without him ever even making it. Objects moved. Dreams bled into the code. He stopped sleeping, stopped eating, and still the house grew. Not just in size, but in complexity, shifting into impossible architectures that defied logic. It's like non-Euclidean geometry, a space where going left could loop you right back behind yourself, like folding space in half and punching a hole through. At first, it was subtle, a door that didn't lead where it should have, a hallway that was just a little too long. But then came places no house should contain, a brutalist concrete apartment, a surreal bathhouse of white tile and water, a haunted daycare with a Shrek mural, and seemingly infinite airport that ended in a cryptic bathroom. And when the player tried to cheat, say by using no-clip to pass through the walls, they were thrown somewhere else entirely, into the back rooms. A liminal hell of flickering lights and empty yellow corridors. Each space felt like a memory someone had tried to forget. But the most disturbing part was the journal entries. As Steve described working on the house, his language became disjointed, almost scared. He said the house was changing without him, that it had become sentient, that he couldn't stop. And near the end, he even tried to upload a clean version of the map, but somehow the cursed version went live instead. And it didn't stop there. Players who explored deeply found themselves locked in. The keys they collected weren't just colored icons anymore, they were artifacts, each unlocking new horrors. 16 in total. Miss one and the map could spiral into endings filled with burning houses, fake beaches made of cardboard, or even twisted sitcoms with audience laughter echoing in liminal voids. Some players made it to the real beach, the good ending. Fewer still noticed the little dog resting peacefully in the sand, but others, they found gravestones, a QR code, and an obituary for a man named Steve Nelson. But here's the thing, no one can confirm if he ever existed. But the house still exists, because once you step through that front door, there may not be a way out. Would you dare to give it a try? We'd love to know in the comments below. A mysterious clown-like figure rose from under the bridge like a nightmare. First a hand, blue glove, only 3 fingers. Then a tall figure, almost 7 feet high, with no neck. His head sat straight on his shoulders. His face looked like a painted mask. Yellow lips that never moved, triangle-shaped eyes, and a brown square for a nose. His clothes were torn, his feet were bare, and each foot had just 3 toes. This is not any horror fiction. It's a real incident that happened in early May of 1973 in a quiet place called Sandown on the Isle of Wight. 2 young children, both 7 years old, a boy and a girl, were near Lake Common when they heard a strange noise. It sounded like a loud ambulance siren. Curious, they followed the sound across a golf course and through some bushes. The sound led them to a swampy field near Sandown Airport. Suddenly, the noise stopped. They wandered further and reached a small wooden bridge. That's when the strange hand came out from under it. The creature dropped a book into the water and splashed around trying to get it back. Then he made a strange hopping walk and disappeared into a metal hut with no windows. When he came out, he held on to something that looked like a black microphone. The siren sound began again, but this time it was louder, so loud that the children ran away, frightened. And then the sound stopped, and a friendly voice called out, "Hello, are you still there?" Even though he was far away, his voice sounded as if he was standing right next to them. Most children would have kept running, but these were different times. It was the 70s. Children trusted people more easily. So they turned around and walked towards him, and what he said next made everything even stranger. The figure wrote, "Hello, I am all colors, Sam," and pointed to the words. Though his lips didn't move, he spoke in a muffled voice. When he asked if he was a man or was a ghost, he said, "Not really, but I am in an odd sort of way." To "What are you?" he replied, "You know." He said he hid from people out of fear and showed a sketch of others like him. Then the mysterious figure invited the children into his hut, entered through a flap. The ground floor had green-blue wallpaper, dials, and wooden furniture. The upper level had a metal floor. He removed his hat, revealing round white ears and patchy brown hair. He said he drank filtered stream water, ate berries, and sometimes went to mainland Britain. He did a trick. He put a berry in his ear, made it appear in his eye, and then his mouth. The encounter lasted about 30 minutes. The children told an adult that they had seen a ghost, but were ignored. The girl told her father 3 weeks later. The father, initially skeptical, asked the boy, who confirmed the story. He documented it and set it onto Before a Journal in 1978. The father had earlier sightings. In 1970, he saw a craft with colored lights near River Yar that followed his car and responded to his flashlight. In 1972, at Compton Bay, he saw yellow underwater lights, heard a droning sound, and witnessed a sudden tidal surge. But his daughter was unaware of these events. Many say it's a possible alien abduction. What do you think? Let us know in the comments. The car door opened, and Travis was there. Travis was a chimpanzee. His mouth and chest were covered in blood. He had just attacked a woman named Charla. Now, he was moving toward a police officer. The officer had no choice. At a very close distance, he pulled out his gun and fired several times. Travis did not fall immediately. Even after being shot, he ran away from the scene. A little earlier, Sandra had tried to save her friend. She had tried to pull Travis off of Charla, but he was too strong. She had picked up a large object and hit him on the head, but it made no difference. Then she stabbed him several times in the back. Travis turned and looked at her with a strange and frightening expression, almost like he was confused and angry. Sandra said she felt scared in that moment. Meanwhile, the emergency call came in. The voice on the other end was full of panic. At first, the police officers thought that it might be a joke, but the more that they listened, the more serious it sounded. When they arrived, they found Charla. Her condition was very serious. There was a huge amount of blood. One officer shouted, "He's got no face!" Medical workers came quickly, even though the scene was still dangerous. Many believe that fast action helped save Charla's life. Travis had run away, but the police did not chase him immediately. They needed to help Charla first. Later, they followed the trail of blood that Travis had left behind. It led back to the house. The front door was open, and officers moved slowly but carefully, going room by room. After some time, they found Travis in the back part of the house, where he usually slept. That is where Travis returned, and where he took his last breath. Who do you think is responsible for this? We want to know your opinions in the comments below.
Sandra attempted to wrestle the chimpanzee off of her friend, and then she ran and got a very large shovel and struck Travis about the head several times. The blows had little or no effect on the attack, which continued. Sandra stabbed Travis several times in the upper back, and with that, Travis turned around and looked at her in a questioning, kind of menacing type of way, and Sandra felt actually frightened by the look that Travis had given her.
Stand for 911, where's your emergency?
Oh. Send the police!
What's the problem there?
The chimp killed my friend!
We heard this call come in over the radio, and when we first heard it come in, we couldn't believe that this was taking place. We almost thought it was maybe a prank.
Who's killing your friend?
My chimpanzee!
Oh, your chimpanzee is killing your friend.
Yes. He ripped her apart, hurry up!
We continued to listen on the radio, and then it sounded very serious.
And what is the monkey doing? Tell me what the monkey's doing.
He ripped her face off!
Is the monkey still by your friend, or can you get close to your friend?
He's eating her!
They thought that they were safe. 30 climbers stood proudly at the highest point on Earth, Mount Everest. They had reached the top, all 8,848 meters of it. The sky was clear, and the view was endless. It felt like the perfect ending to the adventure of a lifetime. But it wasn't the end. It was only the beginning of a nightmare. As they began to climb down, a violent storm appeared out of nowhere. A strong blizzard swept over the mountain, hiding the path and freezing the air. In just 36 hours, 8 people would lose their lives. But before that, there would be incredible bravery and terrible suffering. One of the guides was Michael Groom from Australia. He had already lost all 10 of his toes and parts of both feet to frostbite on earlier climbs. Still, he kept going. That day, he was guiding a group of paying climbers to the top. But by the end of it, he would be the only guide from his group still alive. As the storm got worse, Michael became stuck in the mountain with 2 other climbers. One was a Japanese woman named Yasuko Namba, and the other was Dr. Beck Weathers, an American who had gone blind from the high altitude. Michael tried to carry Beck's weight while also helping Yasuko move, but the storm became so bad that they had to stop. They lie flat in the snow, trying to stay alive by punching each other and staying awake. If they fell asleep, they knew that they might never wake up again. Around 1 a.m, the storm cleared just enough for Michael to see a direction. He had to make a painful choice. The choice to leave Yasuko and Beck behind and go get help. Hours later, he reached Camp 4, freezing and barely able to speak. There was no one strong enough to go back. The next morning, rescuers found Yasuko and Beck, but left them. They thought both were already dead. Yasuko died in the snow, but hours later, Beck Weathers walked back into camp alive. And what happened after that is even harder to believe. He was rescued by a daring helicopter mission, the highest ever attempted. Doctors later saved his life, but he lost parts of both hands, his nose, and cheeks. After seeing this, would you ever dare to go on such a dangerous adventure? Share your views in the comments below. A sudden snap, then a loud thud. Adam had fallen. The old rope he was using to climb down had broken, and he had dropped more than 65 feet into the darkness of the mine. Earlier that day, on July 4th, 1998, a group of boys had found an old abandoned mine in Nevada. They knew it was dangerous. There were warning signs everywhere. Even the Bureau of Land Management had made a video called Stay Out, Stay Alive that talked about how unsafe these places really were. It warned about things like cave-ins, leftover explosives, wild animals, and even areas with no oxygen. But the boys were curious. They joked about the danger but still decided to go in. As they walked deeper into the mine, they crossed weak wooden bridges and saw rocks that had already fallen from the ceiling. Still, they kept going. None of them were trained or had the right equipment. They were just trying to make an adventure and film it. Inside, they found strange markings, painted X's and shapes on the walls. They started to worry that they might get lost. The mine was like a maze, and they weren't sure where each tunnel actually led. One of them asked where the marks went. Another one said, "That one goes down," and pointed to a deep hole. Then they saw the rope hanging down a wooden beam. It looked old, but Adam, one guy from the team, wanted to see what was below. He said that he would go first. The others weren't sure if it was safe, but they let him try. As he started to go down holding the rope, it suddenly broke. A thud sound came from Adam hitting the bottom hard, but nothing was visible in the dark. They had no idea if he was alive or how they would bring him back up, because no one had any idea how deep he had fell and how to get there in such a mine. What would you do if you were there with them? Would you resist him from going or go for a rescue party? Tell us in the comments below. The smell hit first. Sharp, sour, like something that had once been alive but wasn't anymore. When the container was finally pulled from the darkness 10 days after sealing it shut, a sickly film clung to the outside. The egg, once intact, was cracked and discolored, and yet there was movement, small, subtle, but undeniable.
Судя по всему, он себя чувствует не очень хорошо, но все-таки жив, потому что вот некоторое шевеление присутствует. Ну что можно сказать? Сам принцип самозарождения жизни, вот он наглядно виден, но это существо, конечно же, не может обладать какой-то высокоразвитой формой интеллекта. В лучшем случае это что-то на уровне амебы или там, может быть, медузы. Сложно сказать, почему эксперимент не получился на 100%. Возможно, вот эта инфекция виновата. Кроме того, Парацельс, надо понимать, что это был средневековый ученый. И эксперимент он описывал, конечно же, очень приблизительно. То есть поместите в темное место, выдержите в тепле 10 дней. То есть нет указаний на то, какая именно должна быть температура. То есть это все, конечно, в какой-то степени могло повлиять. И поэтому наш эксперимент,
Something was definitely in there. But let's rewind. This wasn't some occult ritual. It was science. At least the kind described centuries ago by Paracelsus, famed medieval alchemist who claimed that a human could artificially be created using the most basic elements of life. What he called a homunculus, a man-made person created just using an egg, some seminal fluid, and time. The process was strange. First, a hole was carefully made in a raw egg, too big and the entire thing would collapse, but too small and the needle wouldn't fit. Then came the injection, human sperm inserted directly into the yolk. Then the egg was sealed, just enough to keep bacteria out, but not so tight that its natural defenses couldn't breathe. Then wrapped in a warm cloth and hidden in a dark place. No one was allowed to check, no light and no movement. 10 days later, something had happened. The egg reeked. The yolk had rotted, yet inside there was movement. It wasn't human, but it was alive. At least as alive as a jellyfish or a blob might be. Still, something had gone wrong. Infection, or maybe a misstep in the method, or maybe Paracelsus had left something out on purpose. What if that was the plan all along? Yes, it's disturbing, but apart from that, what do you think about it? It happened in the blink of an eye. One second, the highway between Azov and Starominskaya was quiet. And then the next, a brick, just one brick, shot off the back of a speeding Kamaz truck like a bullet. And it slammed straight through the windshield of an Audi A4, hitting 29-year-old Olga Guyevich in the head. She couldn't even scream before she died. But the truck driver never stopped. He didn't even realize what had happened. Olga was rushed to the emergency room in Azov. Her skull had split open. Doctors tried for 2 hours to bring her back, but her body gave up before the world could. She was just sitting in the passenger seat. It was a normal day for her, and suddenly she died in the most unexpected way possible. How do you explain this? Whose fault do you think this was? The comments section is always open for you, and we're eager to know what you think.
Slow down. Go on. Slow down, man. Slow down. Slow down here, innit? It's normal, man. Keep going. 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 Go on, touch him. Go on. Go on. Come on. Come on. You know, I'll move, man. Really move. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Go on. Come down this hill, yeah. Come down this hill. What you saying, bruv? Well, I'm saying sweet, man. I said, no, man. No, on the right, bro. Both sides of the road, he runs over. Wow. Go round it, go round it, go round it. Four. One. Keep going, keep going. Love me. My whole week's I get money. That's still the slow down a bit, slow down, slow down. Slow down. Slow down, bro. We're doing 90, bro. Slow down, slow down. Slow down. One way.
Hang on there. You come to on it now. No one hear me? You can hear me? You don't have me coming. Hold on, come on. You don't have me coming. No one hear me now?
They were smiling, two teenage boys, full of life, recording their car ride like it was just another fun day. The car was moving too fast, though. The speed had reached 90 kilometers per hour. The sound of the wind got louder and the road became a blur, and then suddenly there was a crash. Metal smashed, glass broke, the screen shook wildly, and then the video kept recording. That's the most horrible part, that the camera never turned off. What came next was definitely not what you would expect. Then a woman's voice broke through. She kept saying, "Can you hear me in there? There's an ambulance coming. Can you hear me?" Over and over. It's like she was hoping that somebody would answer. Just moments before the crash, you could hear the boys yelling. One kept saying, "Keep going, keep going." His voice sounded just like he was trying to stay brave, but there was fear underneath. They were not playing anymore. They were scared, but still trying to sound cool. And suddenly the unthinkable happened, a disastrous crash that left no one alive. The footage recorded is considered one of the most disturbing on the internet. It gives a feeling that you were one of them inside the fast car. It crashed and everyone died, but you're the only one left alive to experience it all, and you can't go anywhere leaving them. Did you also feel like that? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And to continue with the chills, just watch this next video now.